I'm not sleeping as it is. I'm very stressed about the outcome.
I'm stressed for you.
I kept watching all these people go, why the polls are wrong and it's going to be a landslide for Kamala Harris. And I was like that, I need to see that. And then the more I watched, the more I was like, these people are deluded.
As a black woman in this industry, to have worked hard and to not have ever been out of work is an achievement, and I need to celebrate that. My mum converted him, and his friends were like, no, you change your wife, you don't change your football club. He has been telling me for years, you've got to freeze your eggs, I'm like, no, I'm fine, I'm quite sure. You've got to freeze your eggs. The younger you do it, the better. Just being able to really learn to be me in my own skin has been a struggle, but I feel like I'm there now.
Brought to you by SkyBet. Hi, I'm Hayley McQueen and welcome to our show, Not Just Football, part of the Overlap Network, brought to you by SkyBet. We're not here to scrutinise and analyse the beautiful game, but we are going to use football as our anchor to discuss how it links all three of us with Christine Lampard, Kelly Cates and guests as well. Well, I am delighted to say today we are joined by Property's leading lady, radio, TV host, but most importantly, to Scarlette Douglas, Gunnar.
Come on, absolutely. I was like, please make sure you get that in the intro. Thank you. Hello, nice to meet you.
Yeah. You were sort of born to be a Gunnar, weren't you?
Oh, I had no choice. No choice. My mum was a huge fan. In fact, my dad supported Spurs. And then when they got together, my mum converted him. And his friends were like, no, you change your wife, you don't change your football club. But they're still together 48 years later, married. And yeah, one of my brothers played at Arsenal. I played for Arsenal girls, so I had no choice but to be an Arsenal fan. And I just always loved them, and I love the colour red, so it makes sense.
What position do you play, or did you
so
play?
I was a striker, glory hunter and all that. Both my brothers were, so I just kind of wanted to be like them. I remember when I was younger, especially where I lived, no one really played football in terms of the girls didn't play football. And actually when I did, I was able to get me out of here with Jill Scott a couple of years ago. Our ages were the same age groups. I thought if I did carry on, I'm looking at someone who I could have been playing alongside or opposite, whatever. And I just love that so many girls of my age decided that no matter what, they were still going to pursue it because they loved it so much. I had football and I had dancing, and there was a point where I had to pick which one. So I was like, you know what? I love the stage, I love singing, I love all of the theatricals. So let me focus on singing and dancing instead.
But that must have given you a real appreciation of what those players, particularly ones of Jill's generation, had to go through in order to get to the level that they did.
Yeah, without a doubt. People telling them they shouldn't play because they're a girl, there not really being much money in it, and just not being taken seriously. And I think now the women's game is incredible. I went to see Arsenal-Chelsea women's a few weeks ago, and the stadium was pretty much full, and I just loved that. I loved seeing how many people were there cheering on the women, knowing that, you know what, you're great at what you do as well. And that's what it's all about, really.
It's still all commitment.
Yeah.
You have to give your life over to it, don't you? So
exactly.
Absolutely, no, I agree. It's interesting though, because with you, I think, Scarlette, you talk about your dancing and performing and everything else. I think you said it in your Instagram actually a while ago, where you've almost found it difficult to pick a lane because you actually want to do everything.
Absolutely.
And it's almost like kid-like, but you still feel that way now.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I love football and I love singing and dancing and property. And I came in here, I was like, oh, who's designed the set? Because I love it. But there are so many different things that I do and that I love, and it's so hard just to pick a lane. And it was great because I did post about it on my social media, and everyone's always saying on social, you've got to have a brand. Like, what's the thing that everybody comes to you for? And what was great is that a lot of people just came back and they're like, we just love you for you, Scarlette. We love the fact that you do everything and that you don't just stick to one specific thing. Because I think it makes other people think that they can do everything they want to do as well. I think that's so important. We don't just have to be narrow-minded and just stick to one thing. If we've got all these other passions, then let's celebrate them as well.
I sometimes think that's a harder path because when you've got, it feels like a privilege to have a lot of choice, but sometimes it can just muddy the waters.
Yeah.
And you think, well, where do I go next? What's the next? Because when you get lots of opportunities, which one's going to be the best one, and where's that going to lead you?
I totally agree with you on that. I used to do musicals, and it got to a point where I had to decide if I wanted to stay in musicals, focus on acting or focus on presenting, and I was like, what do I do? And I decided whichever one came first out of presenting and acting, I'll focus on that. Presenting literally presented itself first, so I followed that path. But now I'm spending a lot of time in LA, and everyone's like, but Scarlette, if you act, why don't you do acting as well? And I'm like, oh yeah, that is another angle. Maybe I should focus on, I don't want to lose that skill. Or why don't you sing? And maybe you should do a singing show. And I'm like, oh yeah, I should do that. So it does get a bit confusing. And I just think, I'm the sort of person that I just go with my gut, and whatever feels right, I go with it. And if it's not working, then I'll pivot and I'll go somewhere else.
It was musical theatre, like we say.
Oh, I loved it.
You were that was your world, wasn't it? And it's a tough world. It can be a beautiful world, but incredibly competitive.
Super competitive.
You know, it's a tough one to sort of forge a life from, but you were very determined, as you are now, but you were then as a kid.
Yeah, it was a tough one. I went to Performing Arts College for 3 years, and I was always told from dance teachers to Performing Arts College teachers that you're never going to make it, you know, just focus on something else like IT or computers. I was always very good at that.
You don't say that to Scarlette.
Right, I was like,
Scarlette in the corner.
Not on my watch, exactly. You don't put me in the corner. And it was amazing. I got to my 3rd year, and at our graduation, I graduated with 3 jobs. There was some others that I graduated with 2, but one of them was actually the Michael Jackson musical Thriller Live. Not only was I in it as a dance captain and cover the lead female singer, I was also assistant choreographer. So that in itself was incredible because no one thought I was going to do that well. So I left college from the age of 19, and to 27 I was doing musicals in the West End. I toured, I travelled the world. And I've just never been out of work. And it's funny because the favourites at college that the principal always thought was going to smash it, they're not really doing anything now. So in a way, it was tough, but I'm so glad I had that tough love because it made me realise I can never give up. And if someone tells me you can't do it, it means I'm going to show them I can.
Do you think that's the difference, drive?
I think so. Drive, determination. My parents are very driven. They've never taken no for an answer, so I always see how hard they work. And I just like the fact that now I know these people that said no are watching me on TV and they have to be like, oh, actually, she's really good. I'm like, so that part of it's great.
And also I think you get to an age, because when you're young, there's this tendency to kind of minimise what you've achieved. You get to a point in your life and you're not old by any stretch of the imagination. That's not what I mean to. That's not what I mean to suggest. But you do get to a point in your life where you're like, yeah, I can do my job, and that confidence is really freeing.
Yeah, I agree with you. In fact, I think I've kind of gone through an up and down phase. When I was younger, I was very confident. Once I left college, I had my 3 jobs. I'm like, yeah, I'm smashing it. And then I went from musical theatre into TV presenting, and I really struggled with who I was because I've been so used to playing a character in musical theatre and being told what number to stand on a stage that when it was me being me, I didn't know who I was, if that makes sense. So I lost a lot of confidence when I got into television. And it's now that I'm kind of building it back up and spending a lot of time in America, especially in LA, you have to be so confident. Like there are people that aren't really doing anything over there, but they make you think that they are winning Oscars left, right and centre. So even that's helping me with my confidence as well, because I kind of look over everything I have done since I left college at 19 and I'm like, actually, my CV's pretty good, you know, I have done well. And as a black woman in this industry, to have worked hard and to not have ever been out of work is an achievement, and I need to celebrate that.
Yeah, and talk about those extra barriers that you will have to have overcome.
Exactly, so not just being a woman, but then being a black woman as well. And even as silly as it sounds, there's still a disparity between me because I'm well-spoken, as a lot of people say. I was brought up in Hertfordshire. Oh, you know, if I was to close my eyes, I would think you're white, but when I open them, you're black, so I don't know where to place you. There's so many different weird comments that I've had. I'm like, I don't know what I do with that because this is who I am, this is how I speak. Do you want me to speak more ghetto or London or the stereotype that you might think I should speak like? So just being able to really learn to be me in my own skin has been a struggle, but I feel like I'm there now. I'm still getting there at least.
That happened with a girl I know who was a football reporter, and she went the other way and sort of felt that she couldn't speak with her own voice because she felt she was pigeonholed if she did that.
And it's so sad. And these are things that you probably wouldn't even think of, but these are things that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
But again, I definitely think it's getting better, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you feel a little bit of pressure as a role model to sort of young black females who look at you and think, well, it's great. If you can do it, they can do it. But there's that level of responsibility, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think even more so with hair. So Afro hair really has a big place in black females' lives. And we want to be natural. We want to show that natural hair is beautiful and it's celebrated. But also I like changing my hair all the time. So, I mean, I've had some terrible wigs on A Place in the Sun. I look back and I'm thinking, what was I doing? And why did someone not tell me that it looked so bad? But again, it was just me expressing myself. So I've had weaves, I've had long straight hair, but that isn't naturally what my hair's like. So even that is a responsibility that I want young black girls, I've got nieces, I want them to believe that their big afro is beautiful. They don't have to straighten out all of their kinks. They can still embrace it and they can still show it off like a halo, you know? So that is a pressure that I have. But now again, I'm at a point where I do change it all the time. And black girls, we change our hair all the time because it's very versatile. So let's also celebrate that.
I was wondering how much of our bodies are our tool, in a sense, that there may be, something that is on our CV, that your image is part of who you are. So in musical theatre, for example, there will be certain roles where it requires somebody to look a certain way. So in that sense, it's like, well, you need to look like this in order to do that. But when you get into presenting and when you get into other aspects of the job, how much of that then plays into, I don't know, professional responsibility maybe as well?
Yeah, I think it's really tough because I have been through a lot of struggles with my weight, and we used to get weighed all the time at college. Every month we would get weighed, and if you put weight on, you have to go and you have to speak to the nutritionist, and she'll give you a diet. And you're 16, so you're very impressionable at those ages. And my first job was
and
abroad.
your body's changing.
And my body's changing. And again, I'm a black girl, so my body is not going to be the same as the ballerinas that are straight. But in my head, when I was younger, that was the perfect figure. I wasn't.
That's what they told you it was.
That's what I was told, that I wasn't right. I was too big. I was too curvaceous. And even that was a struggle. So I had eating disorders, and then I'd be okay. And then I went into television, and TV adds pounds. And then you kind of come off and people would see you on the street like, oh my God, you've lost so much weight. And I'm like, no, this is just my weight. But I guess that's a compliment. But on TV, I guess I come across heavier. But just then deciding on what I would wear, because I couldn't wear the same things as I may want to, or maybe other presenters would wear, because I would look too heavy. Or it's just always been a struggle. So now I'm like, you know what? For me, I'm overweight at the minute, but I'm still comfortable in my skin right now. I'll go to the gym when I can be bothered to go to the gym. If I can't be bothered to go to the gym and I want chocolate, I'm not going to beat myself up about it.
But you look great.
Thank you.
This is exactly it. I mean, I literally bumped into Scarlette in the corridors of GMB and Lorraine's studios recently. And I had just come in, the hair was scraped up, not a pick of makeup on, feeling rough. And she comes out like this ray of glowing sunshine. You look fantastic. How do you look like this at like 6 a.m? And it's so interesting listening to your version of how you feel about it, because we're all the same. We all have that exact, and we're not getting weighed every month at musical college right now. But those things hang on to you for forever, probably.
They really do.
So it's so interesting you have that thought, because that's the opposite of what I thought that morning when I saw you. Oh my God,
that's good to know.
Perfection.
No, because I was not thinking that inside.
It's so interesting. You talk about the presenting thing now. So you do musical theatre, you love that.
Yes.
You're open to other opportunities, obviously.
Absolutely.
So then how did TV open a door to you?
Yeah, so that was, I'd like to say that was kind of potluck. That was a bit of a fluke. So the last musical I did was the X Factor musical that Harry Hill wrote, Simon Cowell produced.
Of course.
We were supposed to do a year contract at the London Palladium. We did 2.5 months, and we got our notice, the show closed. And I remember thinking, what am I going to do? I just bought another property to renovate, because I do flipping properties on the side with my brother.
So this is what you were doing as well as?
Yeah.
So this is the property thing.
Exactly. So that was kind of my side hustle that I started at 24 with my brother. And at this point, I think I was 27. And yeah, the show closed early. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I've just bought a property. I was expecting the money to come in to do the renovation. And Anton Deck, their Saturday Night Takeaway show, went on an arena tour, and they're looking for backing dancers. So I auditioned. And I remember it was one of those moments when I was feeling quite heavy. So I wasn't eating much. And it was so stupid. I think I had maybe a banana like at the start of the day. But it was one of those auditions when you're literally, you do your round and then you're called back in. So I got there from like 8 in the morning. I didn't leave till 8 o'clock at night. All I had was one banana in the morning, some water, and we're dancing, hardcore dancing. And you've got to bring it every time, because the new lot of people are coming in to dance you off the dance floor, and you're like, gotta get going. Anyway, I got the show. I ended up being on tour with them for a few months, and they are amazing. I've always loved Anton Deck. And I remember just being like, oh my God, I want to be a presenter. I'd done a couple of presenting competitions, and I called my agent, because I managed to get an agent from winning one with MTV. And I was like, right, I'm on the tour. Do you think I should ask the boys if I could interview them and put it on my YouTube? She's like, yeah, go for it. And then some of my friends, some of the dancers were like, just do it, Scarlett. If anyone can do it, it's you. I was like, okay. So we went out one night. Everyone was kind of like a little bit merry. We had a few drinks. It was someone's birthday. And I just asked the boys if I could interview them. They're like, yeah, cool, Scarlett. We love you. We'll come in early tomorrow and you can interview us. I was like, amazing. Turned up the next day and their faces were like thunder. And I was like, oh my God. Either they're angry that they've had to come in early or something. In fact, it wasn't until a couple of months ago I found out, it wasn't until a couple of years ago when I'm a Celebrity, they remembered it. They were like, we were hanging the next morning. So that's why their faces were like that. Wow. But I interviewed them and they were like, you know what, Scarlett, you're actually brilliant. And if this is what you want to do, we'll help you however we can. So they set me up meetings with their agent, with production companies. One of the agents actually who I spoke to said, like, go to your agent and tell her that you do property development on the side, because you can use that as your way in. So I did. I went back and said, look, never told you this, but I do property development. I do more of the interior design side of things. Can I use that as my way into presenting? And A Place in the Sun were looking for a presenter. Literally that same day I told them that had a property background. And then I went, did a screen test, did all of that, and then I got the job.
I loved you doing that.
I loved that
I'm just a
show.
bit obsessed
It's
with
a
that.
dream job.
It's just that. And I'm sure you must have come across sort of quite funny family situations
Absolutely.
and dynamics between the people that you're trying to find a property for. But there's something so fascinating to me. I absolutely adored watching you doing it. I think it's because it is sunnier climes, obviously, and it all looks very pretty. But I was always really fascinated.
It was just
by
so good.
the amount of work that comes into it from your end as well.
Yeah.
And you know, the secret one and the I was just, it's so amazing how it all used to come together.
Yeah.
And you used to piece it together so brilliantly. But because you knew what you were talking about.
Exactly.
You had a genuine interest. You weren't just reading words.
No.
You were interested in property and trying to match the right property with the people.
Exactly that. And I think a lot of people, when they watch the show, they just think we present it, but we do have a lot of help, I guess, a helping hand in the background with the director, with the producer, with the team in the office. We really want to find the right holiday homes. I mean, sometimes you're not going to find it because the show repeats a lot. So shows that maybe were aired back in 2015 or filmed back then, you're not going to find the same prices now.
No.
So
I
obviously
still watch
people,
them though.
Do you?
Yeah,
so you
no,
still
I do.
watch them. But then you have couples that come on the show that will put in an offer thinking that they're going to get 2015 prices. And it's like, no, guys, that's not going to happen. Let's be realistic here. But when you do work with them and you hear why they want to offer so low, or then you have to be the negotiator and the phone call's a real phone call. You really get into it and you're so invested. You spend a week with these house hunters and you want to get them their holiday home and their place of their dreams because you can see how important it is to them. They've saved up for so many years and or they've been gifted some money from a late parent or something, and you just want to do your absolute best to get them what it is that they want. So it was a real fulfilling show.
But sometimes the best ones are the ones where they're very, very picky.
Oh, yeah.
And they go, and it must drive you up the wall, but it's great TV. And you sit there and you're thinking, what we'd like is a swimming pool with probably an outdoor space and maybe some kind of, little outdoor building where my wife can go and write in her downtime. And you're like, and we'd like that for £25,000.
Yeah, and you're like, okay.
Maybe a horse.
Yeah.
Like a horse.
And they're just thrown into it,
There's always something random.
And then they go and see it and they think one of those tiles is chipped in the swimming pool. I don't think that's for us.
Oh, the amount of times we're like, I don't like the wallpaper. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? I will come in here, I will steam it off and I'll wallpaper it for you, it's fine. But yeah, there were moments when you just had to kind of grit your teeth and keep smiling, it's okay.
It was with 7 years you did that for?
6.5, yeah.
So it was a good chunk of time to really own it.
Yes,
it was your show.
Definitely. And I think I was really blessed that was my first ever presenting show. And it was a great springboard for me. And now me and my brother present property shows together on the channel, which is great. He's loving it.
And this is Stuart,
This is Stuart, yes. So they both came from football, but Stuart's fully left football now and we present together full time, which he loves. He loves being centre of attention.
He was at Luton, didn't he?
He was at Luton,
But then he was a physiotherapist, wasn't he?
Yes, so he was at Luton, he went to Boston, he played somewhere else abroad. Then he went to, I think it was AFC Wimbledon first, and then he was at Bournemouth as physio, and he only left, I think it was the season just gone before last.
Okay, so that's it. It's just now watching it and it's a hobby and a passion, but it's sort of left behind. So now it's full steam ahead.
Full steam ahead, property development and TV presenting.
It's kind of full circle, but
it is.
That's kind of how you started the two of you. And was that more, I guess, sort of financial safeguarding and sort of building for the future?
That's exactly what it was.
He was up and down. In football, it's so difficult because you never know when your career is going to end.
And the same with musical theatre. You don't know when you're going to either be injured or out of a show. So he was the one that said to me, Scarlette, you don't have a pension. You can't sing and dance forever. What are you going to do? I was like, I don't know. I thought I could just jazz hands for the rest of my life. No, you can't. Basically he kind of took me under his wing and taught me how to do property development, and we started working together, and that got me into TV, and then because I was in TV, I then got him into TV. So definitely full circle.
Working with your family though.
Is that a podcast for another day?
There's an honesty to it.
Yeah.
There is, very much so.
And
it's
telepathy though, I think, as well, isn't there? Where you do have that sort of ability to just a look is enough sometimes.
Yeah, exactly that. But we actually work really well. We bicker a lot, but we always have done anyway. But people love that dynamic. I think because we genuinely do work together, we really are brother and sister, and it's real and honest. That's what people really enjoy to watch. So we've had great feedback from all of our shows, and they're rated the highest on the channel whenever they come out. We've got a couple of new series that are coming out next year, which we're really excited about. And yeah, Stuart's just taken to it like a duck to water. He's brilliant.
It's strange you mentioned Ant and Dec, and then of course it comes full circle again. You mentioned The Jungle, so that was 2022, wasn't it? And Jill Scott as well. Weirdly, talking about the boys, and you said about them hanging and feeling rough, I thought maybe Newcastle had lost, because I know when they're in, particularly when they're at the Jungle and those matches at home, because I do know the boys, and they sit, it could be literally moments before they're going live, and they're in it. They're in it. They've got the screens all set up. They watch Newcastle the entire time that they're in Australia. Like, you can vouch for that.
Yeah, absolutely. They are big fans. Big fans. You're right. I didn't even think of that. It could have been that, but no. Found out they were hanging. Yeah.
Was it an experience of a lifetime, or was
amazing.
it really?
I loved every minute of it.
Oh, it just stresses me, and it's just not my thing.
Right.
I adore watching it. I never miss an episode of it, but I can imagine that it's just so all-consuming. You got quite lucky with your year as well. People that were
and I didn't do many.
Matt Hancock year, wasn't it? Of course.
Yeah, he was on it. So Matt Hancock / Mancock, as we called him in there for short. He basically got.
He's been called worse.
Yeah, exactly. That's fine. He was getting all the trials and challenges. So all I had to do was just eat the food that came in that we cooked up. I didn't have to drink anything bad. I didn't have to eat anything bad. I was like, this is great.
Yeah,
it's the best year to be.
Literally,
this is a holiday.
I was in there with Boy George. We're like singing together. Jill, we're hanging out, doing a few kick-ups here and there. Like, we had the best time. So for me, it was great. I've always said I would definitely do it again, but I think I was really lucky that I didn't have to do much that time, so maybe I wouldn't.
Yeah, people have had different experiences, and then the new lot are about to be announced as well. What advice would you give them?
Oh, that's
other
a really
than
good
just
one.
being with a really good group of people and with somebody that everyone hates.
There's always someone that
Tell me this is what I would be giving advice to. Why does everyone fight over being the chef? I mean, it's clearly the most controversial role in the jungle. Yeah. So why do you want to do it? I'd be the first to go, whoever wants to do it, I am more than happy to step back. I don't know
what it is. I think... I don't, you're right, I really don't. I think it's because you don't want the food to get messed up. So people start becoming control freaks. So they're like, okay, I'm going to cook it because I know I'm not going to make it go bad. But at the same time, if you do make it go bad, then what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
I remember we had some rice cooking, and it was Matt Hancock's job to look after the rice. And I got evicted literally that morning. I remember watching it back, and they came back and it was just burnt. It was just black rice. And that was the ration for the day. So, I mean... What are you going to do?
If you'd stayed in,
exactly.
the rice would have been perfect. Didn't want to say, but
but it was an amazing experience. It really was. And I think anyone that's going in there, I would say you just have to be yourself because the cameras are on 24/7. Yeah. And if you try and be anything that you're not, you're just going to get found out, and there's no point.
How do you think Colleen Rooney's going to do? I'm so shocked she's even in there. She's quite a private woman.
We don't know that officially yet.
Keeps herself to herself.
Don't know
that's
officially.
The thing, we don't know anyone officially, but obviously we have
rumours.
That's rumoured.
And it's so interesting because a lot of the names who are on the list supposedly right now, if you were to look on some of their Instagrams, they're all on holiday halfway between the here.
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh, you are such a detective. That is impressive.
So anyway, just telling you, have a look on Instagrams.
What did you do before? Did you manage to keep it a secret? Did you tell people?
No, because it gets leaked. And in my head, I started blaming my dad because my dad can't keep his mouth shut. I'm like, Dad, who have you told? And then my agent's like, don't worry, they leak it. It's fine. I'm like, okay, sorry, Dad. But no, other than I know my poor dad, bless him. But no, other than my immediate family, my really close friends. In fact, I was putting on a Halloween party and I had to cancel it. And everyone's like, why she cancel it? And I couldn't say anything. And then they take your phone away from you. And then it all got announced. Then when I got my phone back on, everyone's like, oh, you're in the jungle. But no, I kept everything shut. I was really good.
I really want to ask about something that is personal to you, that you've spoken already about on the one show you've spoken with Christine about, because you're freezing your eggs. Yes. I think this is so exciting. We're going to learn a lot more about it because you're opening up about it for a TV series. Because I think we're all of a certain age where we're career women, we're mums. I was a mum at 40. Kirsten, you were a little bit older when you had yours.
I was 39 when I had my first, and 39. Then 40. I just turned 42 in the February and had Freddie in the March. So
so it does happen later, but I certainly wasn't prepared myself for thinking about having children, and suddenly you're in a panic and you're rushed, and it has happened. So that will hopefully give you hope. Have you found it really hard trying to just juggle life, career, travel, passions, and your family and your friends. You've got, luckily, little nieces and nephews as well. And then thinking about your own situation. So tell us just a little bit more about it.
Yeah, it has been a tough journey. In fact, so I'm 37 now, and a good friend of mine, she really struggled to have her first child. She's got a little boy now, he's gorgeous. But she has been telling me for years, you've got to freeze your eggs, I'm like, no, I'm fine. She's like, you've got to freeze your eggs. The younger you do it, the better. But in my head, I was thinking, no, I'm going to find the right guy, it happened naturally. And I've always been really career driven. So in my head, I'm like, I haven't got any space in my diary where I could possibly take 2-3 weeks out or a month out to freeze my eggs. So this year, I'd already filmed like 3 series with me and my brother. So I knew that everything was in the bag. And other than getting my green card for the States and knowing I wanted to spend some time there, I had a lot of time to actually really focus on me for once and my life outside of my career. So I did a consultation. Initially, I was going to have it done in Barbados. Another friend of mine, she had hers done there. She said they're a great clinic to go to. And I went, I met with them, loved them. And then another friend of mine had it done in London. She was like, you're going to want your home comforts. You're going to want things around you where you can just get in your own bed and just be comfortable. Your mum's cooking, which I have every day anyway. So I was like, no, let me definitely stay here and do it. And I did a lot of research. And when you hit 35, your egg count starts to diminish or decrease, and the quality starts to decline as well. So there's a lot more issues that you can have with the eggs. So when I did start reading into it, I was thinking, oh, I'm going to be 37 next month. I need to get onto it. So I called the clinic. The woman was great. The doctor literally, it's like, I don't know, it's like you're going for a routine checkup. They tell you, right, on this day you do this and that and this and that and this. You inject yourself for this amount of days and then we'll take the eggs out and you're done. And it's like, wow, okay. So obviously for them, they're so used to it. They do it all the time. But for me, it was really daunting. But I went in, had my first consultation, and I remember I made the decision that I wanted to document it. And I wanted to document it because not enough black women talk about anything medical. For whatever reason in our culture, we just don't really talk about it. We've pretty much all got fibroids. Until I started having scans and checks and found out that I had fibroid, and I mentioned it, all of a sudden, all these girls, friends that I know, cousins, oh, I've got fibroids. I'm like, why are we not talking about it? Because actually we can help each other with ways to try and shrink them or overcome terrible period pains or anything like that.
And also just share it.
Just share. I think a problem shared is a problem halved, right? Or however the saying goes. So I decided to document it, and I remember my family being like, oh, I don't think you should do it. And my brothers especially, no, don't do it. Why have you got to put everything on social media? I'm like, it's not that I'm doing it because I want everybody to look at me. I want to create an awareness because I don't think it's there. I feel like there's a gap in the market, and whether people watch or don't watch or criticise me or don't criticise me, there's going to be someone out there that I've helped. So I started the diary, and I remember going in, I think it was the second day going into the clinic, and seeing all of the medication that I was going to have to take, all of the injections, all of the drugs, everything. And at that point I thought, I can't do this. I actually really freaked out. I was like, I can't do this. But because I'd already started the diary and so many people were like, you got this, Scarlette, we're going to support you. That encouraged me and spurred me on to keep going. So then took them home. My mum learned how to do the injection. The first night, she's like, I can't do it. So it was just me there injecting myself. And actually, you kind of get used to it after the days go. You get used to it. You do feel bloated. You do feel kind of up and down emotionally. But when my eggs were out, I think I just turned 37 and 2 days. They were out, and I was like, that was my birthday present to me, and I'd done it. And yes, it was expensive, but I'd worked so hard to be able to save enough to do that. And I know there are payment plans for women that maybe aren't as lucky as I am to be able to have the financials to do it. But it was something that I had to do because I have now safeguarded my future. If I want to keep working for however many years, I can do that knowing that they're kind of in the freezer, they're waiting for me. From when I'm ready, I can thaw them out and hopefully...
And I think it was something in the back of your mind for a long time without you maybe even really fully knowing it. But once you had this whole process done, I know that you sort of felt a bit of relief suddenly. It was almost like, okay, I can...
Just breathe.
That's there's time for just to breathe because this major part of my life has hopefully been safeguarded a bit. Yes. We never know, and we know
never
that.
know,
we don't know, but you're in as good a position as you could certainly have wished to be at this point, isn't
exactly
it?
That.
And made a big difference.
Definitely. And just decisions with partners, male partners. I've had some in fact, pretty much all of my partners have been terrible. I can say that categorically.
And hello if any of them are listening.
Yeah, hi to you guys. But just not having to make silly decisions because I'm like, I need to have a child. I can really take time and think, are you going to be the right man for me and for my children or for our children? And if not, then you can move on because I've got a bit more time to find the right one. So just little things like that has really helped.
I think that's huge. I think there are a lot of women who go into relationships because they're looking for a father or a husband rather than a partner for themselves. And that not consciously, I don't think, but I think there is a lot of that around.
And
you've removed that.
Yeah, I have done that for too many years and too many times have I been the person that's made a mistake. And now it's like, no, I don't want to make that mistake. I'm looking for a husband, for a life partner, not a boyfriend or someone that just wants to mess around. I don't want that. I really want to have that family unit. You know, my parents still together. They've been married for 48 years and I love what they have. And I want to have that as well. It's important.
I think too, with sort of documenting it and sharing your story, and it was very emotional to watch because I watched everything that you put out, as you know, Scarlette, and it was, and you had moments of lying in the bed where you were uncomfortable, and it's a medical procedure, you know, you're surrounded by doctors and there's lots going on.
Still a bit under the sedation, but went well. Collected 24 eggs, and now I wait to see how many of those mature, so probably even later.
When you talk about even IVF, we almost casually mention IVF now. You wouldn't have done that 20 or 30 years ago.
Way.
So where will we be in terms of egg freezing and surrogacy in another 20 years?
Yeah.
So I just think it's just bringing the conversation on as much as we can all the time and showing the options that are there.
Yeah, and not being shy to talk about it.
Exactly,
you know?
which is why I think what you did was so brilliant. And I know you were very passionate about
that.
Yeah,
I was. And it was great to be able to come on, Lorraine, and talk about it with you as well. And I just think if it's helped one person, in fact, I know it has helped quite a few because I've told a lot of people that have come to me, like the right clinics to go to and what I did feel throughout it. It's just helped a lot of people, and I think that's what's the most important thing for me.
So has this allowed you to go back and forth to LA now?
Yes, exactly.
So you do spend a lot of time there?
I do, so I'm 2 months there, 2 months here now. Spoken about, I've got all these lovely things that I enjoy doing. And in America, especially in LA, you can do whatever you want and no one says, well, hang on a second, aren't you supposed to be a singer? Why are you now having a fashion line? So it's just open there. You can really just go for all of your dreams and no dream is too big. I think sometimes here people don't want you to take the risk, you play it safe. Whereas over there it's just like, no, go big or go home. And I love that.
How'd you get to the Emirates from LA?
I know, right?
Where'd you fit it all in?
Well, actually, there's a big arena called Cosm in LA now, so it's huge, and they've got screens everywhere, so you feel like you're actually in the stadium. So I've not seen a game yet, but I've seen a lot of clips, and I've been looking on their schedules because
I saw this
right?
word actually. They're so big that it feels like you're
it feels
on
like you're
the
in
side
there.
of the
Yeah.
Yes, it's almost like an AI type thing.
It's unbelievable.
Yes,
so that I need to do, but because we're 8 hours behind, the game's normally like 6 a.m. in the morning or something, so I need to actually get up and go.
No, you need to stay for a night out.
Yeah, you're right, there we go. And
But you don't have your back of the bus crew with you, though.
Oh, I know, my back of the bus crew. Oh, I'll tell you what, I did Soccer Aid last year. It was the most amazing experience. I was hanging out with Bugsy Malone and Jermaine Defoe and just everybody. And me and JD would always sit at the back of the bus and Bugsy. And then because we just have such a good laugh, everyone kind of started coming to the back with us. And it was like the place to be. And I kind of felt a bit bad. Because you know at school, you do school trips, and like if you're at the back, you're the naughty kids. I was thinking, oh no, we're going to be labelled the naughty kids. But we weren't, we were just the cool kids at the back. And we had such an amazing time. They're so great. And just doing Soccer Aid, being a part of that, being able to play Theatre Dreams, Manchester, Old Trafford.
The best stadium in the world, isn't it?
I wouldn't go that far.
But it's about all we've got going for us right now. A dilapidated, falling down stadium.
Yeah, the home dressing room is unbelievable.
Yeah,
I'll give you that. There you go.
See.
But it was such an amazing experience. It really was. I got to play the last 8 minutes because during training I managed to tear my soleus. I was on crutches and I'd worked so hard to get fit, and then that put me back. But again, I was determined. No matter what, I was going to get on that pitch. Okay. And I got my last 8 minutes, the best 8 minutes of my life, and I loved it. So special.
It is time for Super Six. We've got some predictions. We're going to see how on top of the football you are by being away from us. So you're going to get involved in this, aren't you? So players have the opportunity to win £250,000 if they correctly predict the weekend's 6 Premier League fixtures. So we're going to go with games to come, but we thought we might have a look back How we're doing so far, ladies.
Well, someone is an oracle.
Well, yes. Yes.
It's a complete fluke. I sit and pretend to know what I'm thinking. Yes. And the funny thing was, last time you were really analysing it. You two, remember? And I was just going 2-1.
Yeah. That's probably about right. Look at this. Oh, hello.
Right, here
You know
we
what's
go.
happened? You've got 2 scores right, and the
Yeah.
competitive juices have kicked in.
West Ham, Everton. There we go. I'm going to get predictions off you all. I'm going to write them down with the pen that Christine gave me. That with a magic pen that rubs the ink out. I've told everybody about this every single day since she gave me it. Yeah, I was like, have you seen this pen? Yes.
It's
like a
pen
child.
that rubs out.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, go on. Scarlett. So what was it again?
Okay.
Yeah, so it's West Ham hosting Everton. West Ham, bit hit and miss. Big loss last time out, 3-0 to Nottingham Forest. There was a 4-1 defeat to Spurs as well. You've got Everton. They only got...
Well, they lost to Southampton, didn't they?
So
but
it's a tricky one, isn't it? But it's West Ham at home.
I might do 2-1 to Everton.
We're going 2-1.
Yeah,
It's our favourite scoreline, isn't
it
it?
is.
I'm going to go 1-0 Everton.
Okay. Christine?
I'm going to draw 1-1.
Okay. Safe draw.
That's
Right.
it, yeah.
Next up, we have another 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. It's Crystal Palace hosting Fulham. This was a close one last season. 1-1 and 0-0 between these two sides. Low scoring. Palace have had a bit of an upturn in form, as we know. 2 wins and a draw. Fulham, yeah, they got a much needed win last time out to Brentford. Again, it's pretty tricky, but what do you reckon? Go on.
I'm going to go 2-1 Palace.
1-0 Fulham.
Go on, I'll take the draw then.
Okay, go on.
I'll take the draw.
A little something
Yeah.
different. Okay, Brighton versus Manchester City, 5:30.
I'm going to go 3-1 or 3-2.
Okay.
3-2 Man City.
Yeah. You're sort of stealing my
Oh,
idea.
sorry.
Got the same. All right.
She can rub it out.
A magic pen.
Go 3-1 for me. Go, I'll take 3-1, you can take 3-2.
There we go.
I think there could be a.
It was 4-0 last time out. Just to throw it out there.
I'm going to do a 3-2 then. Do you say 3-1? Yeah, 3-2.
I'll do a 3-1, 3-2.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go 2-1 then. To
Okay,
Manchester City.
you picked the 2-1. Goodness me. Right, Liverpool are hosting Aston Villa. Villa have faltered 2 defeats of late. Liverpool, I mean, they're flying. I had dinner with Sir Alex on Friday night. Just thought I'd get that.
Oh,
in
how
there.
was that?
I haven't told everyone I know.
Just the 2 of them?
Yeah. 150 other people.
Oh, okay.
He said he thinks Liverpool are going to win the league.
Does he?
Yeah.
I think that might be, what's the word? Tempting fate?
Yeah.
I think he might be doing that as a little bit of...
It was a 3-3 thriller in May towards the end of last season between these two. So hopefully there'll be goals galore.
I might go 2-0 Liverpool.
I'm doing
Yeah.
2-1 Liverpool.
I might go 1-0 then.
Okay,
Because I think it might just, I don't know, I just go for what's left.
Right, third, of course, at the moment. They're doing
yes.
amazing. 3 wins on the bounce for Nottingham Forest. I mean, against Chelsea and Arsenal as well, goodness me, without conceding. So are Newcastle in trouble here?
No, because they just came off the back of beating us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I'm not happy with that. 2
And
all.
Deck are good.
Okay.
I know, they're well chuffed, aren't they?
I'll go 2-1 then.
Okay.
To Forest.
I'll
Okay.
go 2-1 Newcastle.
Okay.
I think you
Okay.
set
So they're going to keep it
scores
up.
And
Newcastle are going to keep it up. Okay, there we go. And then it is Chelsea against Arsenal.
I'm going 4-0 Arsenal.
Well, I mean, I have to go Chelsea then, don't I? I'm going to go.
maybe a little set piece from Arsenal.
Are we overthinking this all a bit?
Yes,
much?
we are. It's longer than the game.
Yeah.
I'm going to go. I'll go 3-2 just to fire a few goals in. 3-2
I'm going to 1-0 to the
Chelsea.
Arsenal.
1-0 to the Arsenal, okay. How do you think they're going to do this season? What are your kind of hopes with everything? And Edu's, of course, gone now as well.
I know, Eddie's gone.
Devastating.
I'm not feeling very confident. And I feel bad because it's bad to say, obviously, as an Arsenal fan, but I think the realist in me is very much like, did you really think you were going to do it this season? I didn't think we were going to do it this season. I think Man City are too good. Nottingham Forest are above us. What's going on there? Liverpool have come fantastically. I just don't think we're going to do it. I don't think we're strong enough at the moment. And I was with Arteta the other day. Again, there's quite a few of us there. It wasn't just me and him. And part of me wanted to just be like, should we have a word? Should we go over some of the tactics? I'll get my mum in to have a little chat with him. I just don't think we're good enough.
Okay, ladies. So, community. Hello. Sorry, jump. Community question time.
Okay.
But these are all directed at you, Scarlette.
Oh no. Okay.
So nice.
Oh, we've got a couple
We'll
each.
start
Go on.
with a question from.
As I put the street in my mouth, shall I?
Maybe one each.
Okay.
Oh, they are generic football questions. They're not just Arsenal based. They're all kinds of things.
Oh goodness.
Life
Yeah.
thing.
Can Ruben Amorim turn things around at Manchester United?
Oh,
I think so, you know.
thanks.
I think just having fresh blood in there. Sorry, here I am chewing away at my
I'll
my
join you.
cherry
That's what they're
sour.
there
Thank you. Not there for. I do think so. I just think having someone else there, different approach. I think the fans are going to be happy. I think you could do quite a bit there.
Okay, if you had to choose a place in the sun to live, where would it be and why? I know you're kind of LA at the moment, but would you live there? Do you want to be in America for a start?
Oh my
or
God.
Anywhere else?
Depending on what happens with this election, I don't know. It would be Aruba. So I always get asked that. In the Caribbean, it's a Dutch constituency. It's just north of Venezuela, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's like, yeah, was it Aruba?
We'll take you, something like that.
Yeah, that should be the theme tune for this episode.
Oh, I'm going to watch Cocktail.
Oh, it's one of
And
my
this is
all-time
where we are
favourites.
not in musical theatre.
I'm like, I also no longer in it.
Scarlett's sitting there going, Jesus.
I was like, can we get a tuning fork over here, please? I'm joking.
Wouldn't even
Definitely.
help us.
Yeah, Aruba's amazing.
Cool.
Definitely check it out, ladies. If you've not been.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got a question here. What's your ultimate career goal? Now, either you can choose the best goal you've ever scored,
Okay.
or you can talk about what you'd like to do in the future.
I would say what I would like to do is I'd love to have my own chat show in the States. My own late night talk show like James Corden did.
Yeah. Be a bit naughty and a bit
Like a Jimmy
cheeky.
Kimmel type kind of
Yeah, you know, and show a whole different
Cheeky.
side to me as well. I think it'd be amazing. And I was actually with James, obviously, at the Global Foundation, the Global Gift Foundation. I did speak to him about it, and it's like, if it's, again, like the boys said, Ant and Dec, if you want to do it, go for it. Maybe it's a slightly different way of getting into it now with social media and online being potentially a bit bigger than television to a certain degree, depending on what angle you're going in. He's like, if it's what you want to do, you've got to go for it. And I think the way he just took America by storm, no one knew who he was. He came out with carpool karaoke. He did the, what was it, sidewalk musicals or whatever it was called. Like all of that. I just love what he did with the Late Late Show over there. So having my own late night chat show, or just a chat show in general in the States, would be my dream.
Features you could come up with would be amazing.
I know,
They'd
right?
be so good.
I know. And you will all be on episode 1, ladies.
Well, we'd draw on the viewers.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be it.
Yeah.
Oh, we've loved having you.
It's
Thank
been
you
so
so
lovely.
much.
It's been great.
Yeah, it's just great, Scarlette.
It feels like a really exciting time for you.
Yeah, I feel as though I'm kind of in a place where, you know, the arrow gets pulled back before it then goes ahead. I'm at a weird pivot place. I'm like, what's happening at this moment? But I'm hopefully kind of sowing the right seeds so they'll all blossom and it will be huge.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's called being happy and feeling happy.
Yeah,
you know, you've
exactly.
got to embrace those moments.
Yeah.
And that's what life is. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thanks for
Scarlett.
having me.
You are
Thank
just
you.
the best. So you can subscribe to The Overlap and catch every episode of Not Just Football and lots more as well.